Hey everyone, I'm Daniel Cohn, editorial director here at Spin, and we're here with Cody and Briton from Wage War. How are you guys today?
Awesome.
Great.
Glad to have you here. So, Briton, you've spoken before about your decision to be sober and how you've found the newfound happiness since doing so. So, the old saying the cliche is rather sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Have you found your sobriety changes your relationship to your music or your fans?
It's just been like an overall like just better thing for my whole life. I feel like I enjoy the shows more because like you can remember them and like I feel like I'm more involved like in our music than I ever been. So we're coming up in November on 4 years. So yeah, we're gonna keep it going. It's been great.
Congratulations. And what do you mean more involved in the music?
I mean I've always been involved, but it's just like from like the small creation of just like what we want our look to be and like just the creation of like our album artwork and things like that. Like I've always like had ideas, but like really have like been involved with that.
He spearheaded our last album
Yeah.
like fully with art direction and everything, just like out of nowhere, just like it's like a gift that he has, and it kind of came out of nowhere. And even as we like blaze down the trail a little bit more, it's a thing that he has that we never knew he had, and he's really doing it.
What is the perception you think that the music industry has about sobriety?
I'm not sure like exactly like what the perception is. I mean, there's so many like songs about like substances and things like that, and like of like the party kind of side of things, like where like getting drunk on the weekend with your friends does sound fun, but like there's also repercussions of those actions too that I feel like aren't really talked about as much, and I feel like we probably should touch on those subjects a little bit more. But I mean, there's also people that can have a drink and have a good time and and go on living life, but there's also people like me that like to act up. So
What would be a good way to have a support system for people within the music
I feel like people
business?
just don't talk about it. I feel like there's been so many rock stars in the past who are just like, oh, this person died of such and such, and it's just like, I feel like it's very uncomfortable to talk about that kind of stuff and just be like, hey, I'm not okay. That was the scary thing with me, was just being like, I'm not okay, and I'm like here to admit it.
How did it affect the rest of the band?
I mean, I'm sure like we're really going deep here, but I'm sure I scared the piss out of them a bunch, but they were really supportive, and I remember having very deep conversations, and like I feel like that's what it takes to like get into those pockets of in your life where you really don't want to talk about it, is like people that actually care and want to talk about it and rip the Band-Aid off and get into those dark conversations that you usually don't want to have and you're embarrassed to have, but like people love you and you got to remember that, like, and those guys absolutely saved my life. So
Yeah, and I mean, we everyone's got their things, like in our band and everywhere, and everyone's got their things, and some are more public, some are more private than others, and like the whenever Britain came to the point where he said that, and like a lot of people get to the point where they're just like you hear words like rehab and stuff, and like that was never even a point that we were at. It's just Britain was at a place in his life where he was like, this isn't something that I want to be a part of my life anymore. And so I for us, I mean, I'll say it never felt like it was like really, it was never really affecting us, you know what I mean? But Britain, of course, as a band member, but also as a brother to us, like we wanted him to be happy, and when he wasn't that, he made a decision for himself, and we were there the whole way for him, and to see who he is now, and he's 10 times the vocalist, 10 times the frontman, 10 times the friend, 10 times the everything.
Thank you.
He yeah, I mean, it's just it's incredible to see, and he made that decision for himself. No one pushed him to that, and he's held to it for coming on 4 years now, and we are the best version of our band because of it. And you guys are making me cry and hug.
But it's great that you guys are providing that support system, because it could have gone either a very different way had you guys not known and been helpful. And
I think that's like a testament to. I mean, I say this, but we have all been friends for so long. I've known Britain since I was like 14, and we've all been through so much life together, like crucial life. You know what I mean? Growing up and like driving and like, being able to drink or being able to go do something, and then all of a sudden we're in a van touring together. And so we've been through so much crucial life together, and everyone hits their struggles along the way. And something about our specific five in our band, I feel like we are very tight knit. We have always remained that way. There's no one's afraid of a conversation. No one's afraid of criticism. Like we keep each other in check, but it's all in love, and that is a cornerstone of our band. You get to you get to pull back behind the curtain of some of these other bands, that like you've either looked up to or whatever. And, there's people that just straight up hate each other in bands. You know what I mean? And that's not us. Like I don't even feel like we could play a show if one of us like was on a bad term with the other. Like we're so focused on our relationship with the five of us and that's all just kind of a byproduct and relating into all this. So.
What would you say to people who have family members struggling with addiction, or to a person who's early in their recovery?
For me, it was like again, it was just ripping the Band-Aid off, and like I wouldn't say like go at him like very aggressive, being like, you're an alcoholic or whatever, but like the first time, like when I talked with my fiance, of like hearing that word come out, I was just like, oh, like she might be right, So just being nice and like getting into those conversations can be a little uncomfortable, but like they're definitely needed. Some people are waiting for someone to just like, what, I need to hear this, and I need to do something about it.
How do you personally hope to make an impact, both of you, on the world at large? Because you're coming from such a unique place, and your worldview is very different than, probably pre and post sobriety. So you have a chance to really help people.
I feel like in our lyrics, especially our last album, is Manic, I feel like we touch on a lot of like mental health problems, and that I feel like a lot of mental health problems stem into addiction. So like going to like the root of the source of the problem, I feel like is what we wrote about last record, and I feel like having conversations like this is very big, and hopefully I can have more like this to help people.
Yeah, and I think our band has always been focused on being in some way or another a positive outlet for people. And we turn to heavy music at such a young age because you have all this pent up aggression, and like you don't know what to do with it, and you don't know how to feel. But the first time you hear like a heavy song, or like the first time I heard someone screaming, it's like, well, that's weird. Like that, why would they do that? And then it's like, well, this feels like the most extreme form of like expression, right? Is like the music's angry, the vocals are angry, the lyrics are whatever. It's like all these things together create an outlet. And something that I've said, it's like we don't always have the like our lyrics are not always like, get up, you're doing great. It's like always like sometimes it's just like, yo, things suck right now. You know what I mean? And then this is how I feel, and I feel like there's a big help in positivity through the negativity, because if you write about the things that other people are feeling about, they're not going to feel alone. And the worst thing you can ever feel is alone. And to me, the best thing that I can ever feel is that someone's down here with me, or someone's been through this, or you have a success story on the other side of it. And so that's kind of where we aim. And sometimes we have fun with it and just write fun songs about whatever. And we like to use imagery. We're from the South. We like to talk about hunting and dogs and stuff. But for the most part, like I feel like between like our Instagram DMs and stuff, like it's very clear that our band has a place in the mental health space, and also to help people get through dark times. And we had a song on our last record called Never Say Goodbye, and is about the unexpected passing of a loved one. And like reading the YouTube comments on that one is like it's almost impossible for me, because it's just there's so many stories of people that just like, this song I didn't have to say it. This is just how I feel. And so I think we just want to keep doing that and being true to ourselves. And who knows what the subject the next record is. Like, records are yearbooks for us. So I'm sure the next record will have an entirely different theme than the last one. But for Manic, it was pandemic. Everyone was kind of stuck in this, what do we do kind of thing. So yeah.
Well, thanks for stopping by, guys. That was a really revealing conversation. And is there anything else you want to share with everyone out there?
If you're struggling with something, don't be afraid to talk to your friends or family about it. I feel like that's very important. And keep on trucking.